Hey, what's up? This is Dilio. Let's talk about the Roland Compact devices that they just dropped, the Aira Compact devices. All right, so Roland has been changing their form factor for a long time. As you can see, they've been doing boutique devices, and I could see why they would want to do that because, you know, they sort of kind of let go of their analog roots, right? They're not dropping analog synthesizers really anymore. I remember they tried to do something with the JD-XA, which gave you a 4-voice analog synthesizer, and I haven't really seen them really release another analog synthesizer other than the sort of Model D sort of remaking of boutique line. That was analog, but I think they partnered with another company to sort of put that boutique device together, which is in the same form factor as the JD-08 and the TR-08. But now they came out with 3 devices that are subcompact. And I think I got to make sure that I try to see this from more than my perspective, because if I could just go back to when I was a younger kid, I could see myself being really excited about, especially if I'm a kid that's proficient in music and creating my own music. I could see why these devices like the T8, J-6, and E-4 could be a viable thing. Each one of these devices I'm going to talk about goes for about $200. I do feel like maybe that might be on the pricier side than what I like, but then again, I think the boutique units are a little bit pricier than what I like them to be. That's neither here and there. And I think that the reason that they're doing this is so that they can save money on production. I guess they can give you a little bit more variety, but the trade-off is that we're not going to give you big keyboards anymore. We're not going to give you big things. And then on top of that, you know, Behringer does something different and then give you a full-size drum machine that's fully analog. And I was there for it, and I totally have fun playing on that. But I do also appreciate the Roland sound and, you know, the boutique of that. But these devices are smaller, so let's just give you a little bit of an overview of what these devices are. So the first one is you have the T8 beat machine, sounds like TAR 808. You got the J6 chord synth and the E4 voice tweaker. I'm just going to talk about these 3 and just sort of give my opinion on these. These devices are cool. They're subcompact, they're small, but they do pack a lot of punch. I did listen to them. I listened to some demo videos of them, and they sounded really good. I do not fully like the small size of those. Like, for instance, I mean, I do sound design on the JD-08, but I have tons of small knobs that I have to kind of like, you know, and it's a trade-off, because you want to, you know, coming from where I'm coming from, you know, sometimes it sounded better if the keyboard was bigger, but that's not quite the case anymore. They're using their ACB technology, which they are all about. That's the future, and I get it, because, you know, analog technology was something that was unstable back at a time. But I think today's analog technology, if you look at what Behringer is doing and way their step layers and things, and today's modern analog synthesizers that Moog releases, a lot of things are a lot more stable than what they used to be, you know, 20, 30 years ago, dealing with the first analog instruments. The T8 beat machine gives you 808, 909 sounds, 606 sounds, and 303 bass line all in one box with built-in effects like reverb, the standard stuff right there. It connects USB Type-C. And I think it's cool if you want just instant 808 programming. It kind of has like that TR-8 sequencing. I think it's pretty cool. And if I were to look at it from an entry-level position, I think it could be a great tool. Or even if you're advanced and you're looking for something to just jam on, I think it's cool. If you're a hardcore MPC user, it would probably be something that it would synchronize to that. But the NIO on there, you don't have full traditional MIDI DIN ports on there on none of these devices, so now you got to use the adapters to adapt to that. I think it's cool. I'm not particularly too much interested in it, not because of it not sounding good, but just because of its form factor. It's small, and I think somebody starting out, which is probably who they're targeting with this price point, could probably really have fun and learn how to work with hardware through that Roland brand, through that Roland sound. And I think it could be a lot of fun. Same thing with the J6 chord synth. Now, the J6 chord synth is 4 voices, you know, and I believe they based this on the Juno 60, but I think the Juno 60 had 6 voices, if I'm not mistaken. You can let me know in the comments below. It's based on the Juno. voices. You got 4 of them, and it does chords. You have these pads where you can sequence different chord progressions and automate them, and it sounds good. You got on-demand effects, reverb, delay. Same thing with the T8. You have a basic envelopes. It's still a $200 price tag for this. I guess that works for the price, and I think it sounds good, you know, given that it's a Juno kind of architecture right there. Once again, this is good for those who may not be able to fully play, but they want to have chords. It has these things called genres, which basically gives you different chord progressions on demand. You probably can program your own chords on there. I think it's cool. I think that, again, if I were to try to look at it from my point of perspective, like, I'll probably play with it and have fun and then put it away. But somebody who's just starting out would probably get a lot of joy out of it and have a lot of fun working with it. And they wouldn't be out of too much money. They wouldn't have to commit too much money to it if they're starting out, which, again, I think this is the market who they're targeting, or the people just like to tweak gear or stuff like that. You know, I think that it could be responsive to what Behringer's doing, because Behringer has been releasing a lot of fully analog gear for very inexpensive, and I think a lot of people are there for it. But I don't think Roland's trying to take that move laying down. So this is their answer to that, but it's still a more procedural response, simply because they are making devices smaller and smaller. It just makes me wonder, will there be smaller form factor coming from Roland in the future that they'll be kind of investing more in order to, I guess, save manufacturing costs? Because, you know, when you think about it from a corporation perspective, all these decisions were made in the office room. You know, you got musicians, you got executives and accountants. Roland's a big corporation, you know, so I feel like this is more of an economical move, while still trying to compromise and give you something to enjoy, but it's more of an economical sort of thing. The last device, as I've been rambling, is the E-4 voice tweaker. You got built-in effects, obviously. You got a looper in that. You got a vocoder. You got pitch correction, a harmonizer. Any way you want to mangle your voice and do stutter effects and all that, you can do it with this device. You're not going to hook up a condenser to this thing. You're going to have to use a dynamic microphone that can summarize down to a 1/4 inch output. It doesn't take XLR, no phantom power. So if you got a good dynamic microphone, it's going to work for you. You can sing through it, harmonize through it, and you can synchronize these devices together. And this is a great way to get auto-tune, pitch correction in real time out in the field. But I do feel it's a little limited just to have just a 1/4 inch input on it. But again, I think this is a economic focused device, so I really feel like they had to leave a lot out to keep the price at around $200. You know, so again, for somebody starting out, I think it's a great option, because you got a lot of good effects right there. It's a lot of fun, and that's the market. I think this is targeting the teenager or the pre-teenager who has a parent who's not quite sure if their child is really into making music or not, but they see that they're interested and may pull the trigger and buy this for them. For someone more advanced, they may look for something that has a little more option. Of course, someone more advanced or somebody older has more resources allocated to them that enables them to enjoy a little bit more advanced of a platform. But then again, any instrument can be for anybody. I like that Roland has bringing out a lot of throwback keyboards, like for instance the JD08 and the TR08. You know, in a world where you can't buy an original TR808 without dropping thousands of dollars, or original Juno. So I do like that, and they make them sound really good with the ACB technology. I can't deny that, but the main thing I didn't like was that, you know, it was sometimes you get in a really small device, and you know, I got big hands, and you know, it's just, I just don't like the form factor. But I do understand that it's probably from a corporate standpoint, from a shareholder standpoint, whatever standpoint, I would like to try to see it from the other hand of the foot. It's probably a more economic option. I guess if they haven't had to find a way to compromise in cost by doing it with size, maybe they wouldn't be able to put out so many different variety of different bulk T devices, and with these subcompact devices right there. I'm not a fan of the size, but I do see that it probably provides a economic compromise for the company and for the end user on this platform. If you like this type of content, let me know in the comments below. My name is Dilio. You're watching the Dilio TTK YouTube channel. I'm out. Peace.